surprising, sad, tragic, upsetting, and it all caused action on behalf of the Gossett family. We got to get this brother back up here. I usually, in introducing myself, like to mention to people that before the 25 years I've been an elected official, I was for earlier 25-year period a community activist. The experience of being a VISTA volunteer for 1 year in Harlem that I characterize now as a signature experience in my life, because I went through very radical changes as a result of joining VISTA. When I went into VISTA, my name was Larry Gossett. By the time I came out, I changed it to an African name, Abba Yoruba. But my brothers and sisters, man, as you would think about yourself back in 66, 67, 68, that was the height of the Black Power era. So I had no problem influencing my 5 younger brothers and sisters, Brenda, Ricky, Glenn, Teresa, and baby Patrick, about Black Power. I think when I was home about a week, and little Patrick, the youngest of the 6 Gossett kids, when he started getting up out of to get ready to go to school in the morning, he used to say, "Hi, Mama, how you doing this morning?" But he started getting out of the bed, saying to his mama, "Black Power." He didn't know exactly what context to use it. And then in 76, he went to the service and stayed in there 7 years. And while he was in the service, he discovered that he was gay and had a preference for same sex. He kept this information. We don't know why we didn't find out the 85, 86. I think it's because culturally a lot of Black people sometimes disown their families when they find out they're gay. But I don't come from a family like that. 2 white girls. 2 white girls that were very close to my brother that lived in Aurora. One of the 2 of them had to go to a conference in Seattle, Washington, and he called us to make them feel at home when they came. And they were together. And when they came to Seattle, my mother, because they were close to our brother, and we still didn't know what was happening with him, because he never came home. They told us that he's very sick. That's why we wanted to reach out to you when we came up to Seattle. Not only does he have AIDS, he's suffering from drug addiction. We care very much about him. That's why we're telling y'all. And then we got on stick. We called him. We had his phone number, and we started in motion. First my brother, and then my stepfather going down there. But the 2 white girls that came here for some kind of conference or meeting, telling us about him. The surprise, the not knowing that he was sick, particularly from his 5 older brothers and sisters and his mother were the most concerned. But when we got together, even from the get, we said, we cannot be loving or supportive or helpful to Patrick unless we get him back up here in Seattle. We don't know nothing about Colorado. We sure didn't know nothing about where Aurora was. We just knew about Denver because of the Broncos. First of all, we sent my brother Glenn. Glenn is emotional, and when he got down there, he said, "Big brother, I don't want," he called Glenn Big brother, I'm not going home, man. And I'm not taking you to the airport for you to go back home. So Glenn just left his apartment. Then we sent my stepfather to Aurora, Colorado. He said, "I'll go get him." And none of us argued. He went down there rented a U-Haul when he got there, went over to Patrick's house and said, come on, we packing your stuff. And this guy is 6'4", 244 pounds. Patrick was about 5'7" or 8", 145, 150 pounds then. So I know what happened. He looked at his stepfather, who he'd never known to take no mess from anybody, and said, okay. So they packed all his stuff from his apartment, hooked his car onto the back of the U-Haul, and drove back over the mountains and stuff to Seattle. My mother, my stepfather, and 3 of his older brothers and sisters, we all went to classes to help us as family members better appreciate what HIV was, how it differs from AIDS, how you can be best supportive as family members, how you can educate and refer him to places that would help him, what kinds of books and magazines we should be reading to educate ourselves. And I was happy that 3 of his brothers and sisters, his stepfather and biological mother, and 2 of his cousins, we went to the classes, and Patrick told us before he passed, I can't ask for a better family than I had. We wanted help for our brother, and we did not try to create a cocoon around him and try to stop people, relatives, or close friends from knowing what was going on. He was one of the first people to be in the Bailey Boucher house down. I don't know what year that opened, but I know that my brother within the first 2 or 3 years was in there. And then we moved him out in the north end to, I can't remember the name of that AIDS place, hospice type place out there. And that's where he passed away in 1996 or 7. I think it was 97. Patrick was at peace with himself and knew very clearly the love that he had from his family.